ignition system needs some upkeep, this 6-piece performance ignition coil set will be a kit that you'll want to look into for your 2017 through 2021 3.5-liter EcoBoost F-150. Now, coil packs are a typical wear part that start to lose performance and eventually fail over time and inevitably will need to be replaced. Now, sometimes that's due to underwhelming performance or even physical damage like cracking or water damage. Now, this will be a great kit to look into for your 6-cylinder if you've started to notice any symptoms because of those problems that I just mentioned, like a rough idle, lack of responsiveness, or even the issue has escalated into a full-blown misfire. Now, these will be a direct replacement that will offer a hotter spark for increased performance and better responsiveness while keeping it very affordable and adding an extra pop of color under the hood if red accents are on your priority list. Now, these will have the typical setup of a coil, but they're going to offer a more efficient design for a boost in performance with better windings, which in turn will produce a stronger spark. Now, that improved spark will increase efficiency when burning that fuel mixture to smooth out the idle for a more comfortable experience with your 6-cylinder. And depending on how worn your factory ones are, these will offer a noticeable power increase for better ignition responsiveness. Now, keep in mind that that increase is going to depend on the life of your current set, so if they are in bad shape, you'll most likely see a big improvement compared to what you're used to with your old coils. When it comes to the construction, this is going to come with all 6 out of the kit. They are going to be a direct bolt-in replacement and not require any modification because they are going to be completely plug and play. Now, these will have a rubber boot down at the bottom, very typical of a coil pack, a durable plastic housing up top, and improved windings, core, and insulator on the inside. Now, that improved design will increase the efficiency of these coils about 15%. So these are going to be a higher voltage output option, not necessarily going crazy, but definitely going to give you an improvement over factory. Now, again, these are going to be a direct replacement coming with everything out of the box, and they will have that red color if, again, you are looking for a little pop of red under the hood. Now, these will come in at roughly $225, making this one of the more affordable choices for a set of coils in the category. Now, compared to others available, this will keep it simple and to the point with the design, will save you a few bucks, and offer quality in the setup as well as a little bit of a performance improvement if you do want to get a replacement set for some better efficiency without breaking the bank. Now, install will be a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Nothing too difficult here, so it should only take you about a half an hour to get the job done with some basic hand tools. Now, speaking of install, one of our customers here has installed these on their F-150 and is going to walk you through what that process looks like step by step. So that is going to wrap it up for what I have to say. Let's go ahead and get into that install.
Today I'm going to be installing the TRQ Performance Ignition Coils. Ignition coils are usually best for smoother idling and for gas improvement, gas mileage. These ignition coils, you usually will change them every 30 to 60,000 miles depending on how you use your truck. Before we get started, good practice is to use some dielectric grease. And I would just put some on all of the ignition coils on the ends here so that there's proper contact between the ignition coil and the spark plug. In this job, just a reminder, you're not going to be using many tools as I have here, flat screwdriver, ratchet, extension maybe, and you're going to be using a 10 millimeter and a 5 1/16 millimeter ratchet. So, like I said before, I would put some dielectric grease on all of the ignition coils at the bottom or at the end. This job shouldn't take more than 5 to 10 minutes like that. the dielectric grease that you're going to be putting on the ends. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. So just a dab of it on the ends. So I would just put a dab of it on the ends. So if you have your engine cover on, that's going to be the first thing you're going to take off. Some of you guys don't have engine covers, or maybe you've taken it off and haven't put it back on. So you're going to be skipping this step. So there's going to be 2 nuts that you're going to be taking off. Pretty much gonna look like that. So it's 2 of these. Make sure you hold on to them tight because you don't want to lose them. Maybe set it down somewhere so they won't roll anywhere. Again, like I said, this job shouldn't take a long time. If you don't have your engine cover, you'll omit this step. Okay, then the next thing you're going to be using, you're going to switch out your 10mm ratchet to your 5 16. So each one of these ignition coils are held down by a 5 16 bolt. There is a clip on the end of it that you have to take off, a white clip that you have to take off. And my camera person will zoom in a little bit, show you that white clip, which is right here. White clip is right there. So you can either use your finger or a flat screwdriver and pry it back. And as you pull it back free, that's what that looks like. So you're going to be taking out 6 of these. Once you pull back on that white tab, you could pull it off of the ignition coil and pull the ignition coil out. And this is what the old boot looks like. And as you can see, this is what the new boot looks like. Okay. And just do everything in reverse. Put the boot back in. Make sure the hole where the bolt is lines up with the hole on the ignition coil. Just when you start to feel it grab, kind of just tighten it just a little bit because you don't want to break these off because it's going to ruin your whole day. And then you're going to do the same thing for the rest of them. And I'm going to go ahead and take the other ones out. The ones in the back may be a little bit more difficult to get to. Sometimes it might take a little bit of time for the bolt to catch, but just take your time. It will catch. You see it here? See it tightening up? It will catch. Just take your time. And again, you don't have to over tighten these bolts. Just snug them in. And you can see that side is done. Maybe it took me 5 minutes to do that side. So I'm gonna go around and do the other side. We're gonna be heading over to the other side. Same practice as before. Undoing the bolts, taking off the clip. You can either use your fingernail or you can use the flat screwdriver to pull that clip back on there. And once I take this off, I'll show you where that plug with the clip goes on the ignition coil, just for clarification. Sometimes the clip might need a little bit of persuasion to come off, as you can see there, but the clip goes right over this opening right here. All right, so it's this clip right here, this plastic tab. You're gonna pull back again, either with your thumb, finger, or with a flat screwdriver. When you're putting them in, you could put the ignition coil in and then the clip. That's what I would do. Or you could put the clip into the ignition coil. But again, to have more of a stable part to work with, put the ignition coil in and then put in the clip. You could start off with your fingers and then screw it in, and then once you feel a catch, then you can tighten it in. There's a clip right here. Push it in and then snap that piece in. That's it. And tighten down. Just be careful of these hoses. You don't want to snag those hoses too much. Tighten it. That one is done. And then one more. Clip. Pull the clip back. Pull this off. Sometimes, again, you will need a little bit of persuasion. There you go. Tighten down. And I wouldn't rush this job. It's a very simple job. Just take your time, 5 to 10 minutes if that. If you do have one of those electric ratchet or a drill with adapter, it'll make taking these off a bit faster. But you could use a manual ratchet like I'm doing. Alright, put that on. Boom. The job is done. Put your engine cover back on, and then put your 10mm bolts back on as well. And then that's it.
So that is going to wrap it up for my review and the install of the 6-piece performance ignition coil kit, fitting all 2017 through 2021 3.5-liter EcoBoost F-150s, and you can find this right here at AmericanTrucks.com.